Got so much more for you as usual. I'm worried we're going to run out of time. So let's get to it. Let's go to Joe Biden. Joe Biden's fairly well known for putting his foot in his mouth, and boy, were the last couple of days no exception. First, let's start with him talking about Beau Biden, his son, who's a veteran, and how bankers would try to sometimes scam veterans like that. Now listen to the choice of words that he uses.
My son is Attorney General, a year in Iraq, came back, and that's one of the things that he finds was most in need. When he was over there in Iraq for a year, people would come to him and talk about what was happening at home in terms of foreclosures, in terms of bad loans that were these Shylocks who took advantage of these women and men while overseas.
Oh boy, there you go again, Joe. Shylock specifically refers to Jewish bankers who take advantage of you. Don't do that. Don't do that. So Abe Foxman, who's the national director of the Anti-Defamation League, says Shylock represents the medieval stereotype about Jews and remains an offensive characterization to this day. The vice president should have been more careful. Okay. Now, do I think that Joe Biden meant to refer to Jewish bankers? No. I think that he just forgot that it meant Jewish bankers. He just meant like shady bankers, right? And use the word Shylock there. It's a classic Joe Biden clownish maneuver. Now, Foxman continues, when someone as friendly to the Jewish community and open to and tolerant an individual as his Vice President Joe Biden uses the term Shylocked to describe unscrupulous moneylenders dealing with servicemen and women, we see once again how deeply embedded this stereotype about Jews is in society. Now, that part I disagree with. Now, I completely agree that the Vice President is very friendly to the Jewish community, but I don't think he meant to insult them. I just think that he said that because he's Joe Biden and he forgot that it refers to Jews specifically and that it's an insult, right? And it's derogatory. Should he have used it? Absolutely not. He should know better than that. He's not a young guy. You might not know what Shylock meant because it's an old school term, right? But Joe Biden should know better than that. So then, of course, he apologized. He said, Abe Foxman has been a friend and advisor of mine for a long time. He's correct. It was a poor choice of words, particularly, as he said, coming from someone as friendly to the Jewish community and open and tolerant an individual as his Vice President Joe Biden. He's right. Okay. Now, if this is the only thing that Joe Biden had done, you'd say, oh, well, dude, the guy misspoke once. What can you do, right? No, but this is called pulling a Biden when you say things specifically about race that you should not be saying. Let's rewind the clock a little bit here to give you some context on what Biden has said in the past.
I mean, you got the first sort of mainstream African American who was articulate and bright and clean and a nice-looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
Yeah. Who he was referring to there, right? Barack Obama. Don't compliment an African-American person by calling them clean. It's disastrous, okay? It's like from that comment, it sounds like he's surprised, like, you got this guy who's clean and articulate and is showered, and yet he's black. And he's... By the way, at the time, Biden's running against Obama for president. Well, that clean and articulate guy took you to the cleaners and then was kind enough to make you vice president, which he from time to time regretted. Okay, but that's not all. During that same campaign, remember what he said about Indians in Delaware? Oh, boy.
In Delaware, the largest growth in population is Indian Americans moving from India. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking. Oh, gigantic.
What are you doing, Joe? What are you doing? First of all, of course you can go to a 7-Eleven without an accent. I think they understand you either way. Okay, I guess he meant you can't work there, but that's also not true. And besides this, don't talk about race in this way. It's not helpful, okay? And you're not a comedian. You, at the time, were a presidential aspirant, which, of course, did not work out for you. That sounded like he was a presidential aspirant. Like Tylenol. Anyway, we're not done yet. Just today, he did it again. Oh, no, not again. Now, a different race. Watch.
I stopped in Singapore to meet with a guy named Lee Kuan Yew, who most foreign policy experts around the world say is the wisest man in the Orient.
Oh, Joe. Say it ain't so, Joe. Okay. This guy's going to run for president again. That's why nobody can take him seriously. We don't use the word Orient anymore, Joe. Okay. And again, it's fairly harmless. It's not going to hurt anybody. Like, it's not like he's out there saying, hey, we got to go get those Orientals and make sure they don't have any opportunity in this country, right? No, he's for opportunity. He's just old school in this knuckle-headed way. I said, what? I just said he was a wise man from the Orient. I don't understand. I met him on the Orient Express. You're telling me I can't say that about Chinamen anymore? Joe, no, wait. Joe, don't do it. Okay. Now, by the way, to give you a sense of this guy who doesn't mean harm but says stupid things versus a guy who actually does mean harm and actually does believe in stereotypes, we go to randomly Kevin Sorbo here. He's that idiot who played some sort of Hercules or something on television, right, from 48 years ago. Now, since he's an idiot right-winger and all the conservatives who say they hate Hollywood love guys like him. Now, he's on a right-wing show. Listen to what he says about who runs Hollywood.
Number one, I think maybe next time when they want to do a character in the Bible, hire at least an agnostic, not an atheist, director. I mean, the director is self-proclaimed atheist, and it's like, okay, let's hire this guy. It makes perfect sense. I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand I sort of understand why they never want to deal with the New Testament in Hollywood, because it's pretty much run by the world of the Jewish population.
Right.
See, now he meant that. I like how he stumbled. Run by the screw it, the Jews. The world of the Jewish population? That was not very well put. He says they screw up movies and they don't want to do movies about the New Testament because that's about Christianity. So that's why the Jews do all the movies about the Old Testament, like Noah, which he was criticizing. See, I give that to you as a contrast between some guy who actually is a dick and means bad things and really believes that Jews run the media and God knows what else he thinks the Jews run, right? And by the way, if you think the Christian right wing, they love Israel, they love Jews, you think they got past that stuff? They didn't get past it. There it is, raising its ugly head again. Versus like lovable doofus Uncle Biden who comes in drunk at Thanksgiving. He's like, hey, what's going on here with all the Orientals here? You must have robbed a Shylock to put this dinner together. So, just giving you some context. Okay. Now, let's go to fast food. No, not yet. No, hold. I'm going to drop it a little bit later, okay? So, give me fast food. There we go. Okay. Fast food is normally a topic that I rather enjoy. In this case, I'm going to get a little angry about it in a minute. Let me tell you what's been going on here in this fight. That's actually happened for over the last 2 years. A lot of fast food workers have been going on strike. They've done multiple lawsuits. Part of the reason is wage theft. So a lot of companies make them buy their own uniforms, which is against the law, right? They make them work extra hours. In fact, the National Labor Relations Board recently ruled against McDonald's. McDonald's was saying, that's the franchises. I got nothing to do with the franchises. But they were able to show, no, in fact, they do have a lot to do with the franchises. In fact, McDonald's oversees their labor costs. And then we'll send them a warning, your labor costs are too high. And then the local franchisee will then say, okay, all of you workers, go off the clock, but keep working. But that's illegal. You're basically making them work for free. You're stealing their wages from them. That's what's called wage theft, right? And you do it systematically. So McDonald's lost at the National Labor Relations Board, so they got a new strategy, which I'm going to tell you about in a second. But first of all, let me give you more context as to how significant a problem this is. 9 in 10 fast food workers report wage theft. 9 in 10. So it's an overwhelming problem. To give you a sense of how disparate the treatment is of workers as opposed to executives, the industry pays corporate CEOs 1,200 times more than it pays the typical worker. Now, if you think, well, I mean, I get it, the CEO is really good and he deserves it, and But they barely made any profit. That's why they can't pay the workers. If they paid the workers, they wouldn't make any money. Last year, McDonald's made $5.6 billion in profit. They've got plenty of profit. They just choose not to share it with the workers, even if they make those workers continue to work and, in a lot of cases, not pay them. Okay? So let me give you, again, a sense of how bad a problem it is. Let's take a state like California, which actually has a lot of protections, let alone the states that don't. So imagine the rest of the states. In California, where labor law is robust, Think Progress explains, workers have less than 1 in 5 chance of recovering lost wages, even when they prove that they were robbed and win a judgment for restitution from the state. Wage theft steals more money each year than every bank robbery and store holdup in America combined. So it is literally the biggest form of theft in America. It happens to 90% of fast food workers. And even when you prove you were robbed, you only collect 20% of the time. That is egregious, right? So now McDonald's and the fast food industry overall, they're caught. They got a ruling against them. They have been doing it. There's evidence. And now the workers are striking. So what are they going to do? They're going to do the oldest trick in the book. Go to your bought politicians in Washington and get them to rig the system for you. So here comes the report on that. The International Franchise Association is flying fast food store owners and other franchisees into Washington on Tuesday to drum up congressional opposition to a recent legal decision that could make corporations liable for how franchise employees are treated. Wait a minute. I thought you guys were the ones that were against government interference. All of a sudden, what are you doing? You run to the government to get your favors. And when they do that, who are they going to go to? Of course, these guys. Speaker John Boehner and former Republican Governors Association head and Mississippi Governor Haley Barbour are scheduled to speak to the group, and the paper reports that top Senate Republicans will introduce legislation targeting federal labor regulators in general later this week. Now, drop it. This is exactly what's wrong with our government. Look at these guys. We're in the wrong. The facts are in. The ruling is against us. Who cares? We bought all these politicians. We're going to go tell them who they work for. Okay, those guys we pay. Okay, those are important people to pay. You go get your corrupt congressman like John Boehner, get your former head of the Republican governors, Haley Barbour, and these fat cats walk in and they say, crush our workers for us. Allow us to continue to do the biggest theft in America. They say they're pro-business. How about the guy who's working for that business? You see, in the end, it was supposed to help us. The idea is if you're pro-business, that it creates a good environment for business that allows you to get employed, and hence it's good for the American people. Except we lost that link. Now you're employed, oftentimes you work, and they don't pay you anyway, while they take home billions of dollars. And when they get busted, what do? They love government interference. They hate the free market. They hate negotiating with their workers. So they just go to their bought politicians and say, all right, just make this problem go away from me. Reverse the ruling, make legislation, rig the rules, rig the free market, kill the free market, do crony capitalism. Gimme. Let me continue to steal from my workers. And of course, the Republican Party is there to oblige, oftentimes the Democratic Party too, but as you see in this report, it is clearly the Republicans they ran to, clearly the Republicans that are introducing legislation and can't wait to do their bidding, because that's their boss. That's the guy who signs their checks. God damn it, let's get them all, okay? That's why we started Wolfpack. Let's go get the sons of bitches. If you allow this system, you know what's going to happen? They're going to win. I'm going to come back here in a couple of months, and I'm going to do a story about how the Republicans wrote a piece of legislation. Oh, the Democrats pretended to fight, but then gave in, and it turns out it became law, and they overruled it, and their workers get nothing, and they continue to do the largest theft in America. It dwarfs all other thefts combined. It's not to help the American people. It's to rob the American people. Get up. Wolf-pack.com. If you don't get money out of politics, well, all those politicians, of course, are going to do the bidding of the people paying them. And it's these giant corporations that are paying them. And that's why they crush workers all across America because they don't represent you. They represent these guys. You got to get money out of politics. It can be done. From the first day that they protested in the streets, the suffragist movement, it took just 7 years to get an amendment. Women couldn't vote. They had no chance. They had no hope that they could possibly win the right to vote when they couldn't vote in the first place. Can we do this? Hell yeah, we can do it. We already won in California. We already won in Vermont. We're on the march. Whenever we go anywhere, we get literally people in legislative offices saying, we are scared of your mountain army. We just had somebody in Washington tell us secretly, it's a liberal group. It's a liberal group that says, we tell people in Washington we're not like Wolfpack because Wolfpack is dangerous. Goddamn right we are. We're dangerous to these sons of bitches that have been stealing your money all along, that go run to their John Boehners and Haley Barbers and say, oh, okay, now you Republicans, conservatives, real conservatives out there, you say you hate crony capitalism. First of all, you vote for every top crony capitalist. The leader of the Republicans in the Senate is Mitch McConnell, the leader, the greatest example of crony capitalist ever. But you say big government sucks, big government is corrupt. I agree with you. Who do you think corrupted them? This story shows you this is exactly how they get corrupted. They sign big paychecks, McDonald's does. Oh, here's a tiny percentage of our $5.6 billion. I don't want to pay my workers. I'll pay John Boehner instead. I'll pay Mitch McConnell. I'll pay Haley Barbour. And they will go and pass laws and rig the system so the workers and the American people are crushed. Aren't you goddamn tired of that system? Even if you're a conservative, you're a liberal, you're a libertarian, doesn't matter. You got to join us so that together we are strong, and yes, so that they are scared of us, so that we can fix this system. Wolf-pack.com. It's time, right now. Young Turks.
That was a segment from hour one of the show.
Now for the better hour, the second hour.
Drums. You can get the whole show on TYT-network.com.
I finally found the soundbite I was looking for in the first NFL story. The Vikings, upon realizing that they were endangering their sponsors about the suspension of Adrian Peterson, said,
"Really? Like you had?"
I immediately regret this decision.
That was such a long setup. That was it got exhausting.
You had to do it.
I had to do it anyway because I looked for it for 20 minutes. Okay, anyway.
Funny.
All right, now on that, we had Amanda Thompson write in saying, growing up, it seemed normal to get beat with a broom or a switch, but if I have kids, I would never do that, what my mother or father did. And so there's always a time for change. Conservatives don't ever believe in change, but that's why they're wrong. Okay, sometimes it makes sense to do what tradition is. I love lots of tradition. I love Thanksgiving. I love Halloween. I love a lot of American traditions. I don't like the tradition where we beat our kids with weapons and rip their skin off.
Yeah.
Okay? And Amanda's on our side. Okay. David Sparks makes a funny point. Our culture values guys who run into other guys the hardest. And we wonder why other cultures think our culture is dumb as mud. Now, David, to be fair, a lot of cultures feel the same way. In rugby, which I also played, as well as football, you also run into the other guy as hard as you can. That's played in a lot of places. So we're all violent and stupid in some ways. And then on the libertarian story, I'm just going to skip to my favorite one. Elliot Lewis. Quick, someone get the libertarian superhero. Captain Hindsight. Oops. All right. Oh, by the way, a little bit of... You know what my kids love? When you do the surprise face. You try with any kid. It'll work on any kid. It's their favorite thing in the world. Like, now, Joy has learned, she's almost 2, she's learned how to turn on the lights. So she turns on the lights, and when she does, the lights go on, I go... And she's like... Anyway, the bugle was for our second ever executive producer.
What's happening?
What is this? Eddie San Marco. So on our website, there's different levels of membership, right? Mm-hmm. And one of them is executive producer. Those guys get on a conference call with some of us on a regular basis to tell us like what kind of stories should we cover, to question us, give us their thoughts, etc. So there's a lot of different levels of membership with a lot of great stuff, including some of the merchandise that Jesus is in charge of over there at shoptyt.com that you can get for free at different levels. So check that out, tytnetwork.com. Membership's fun. Earlier in the week, boy, did we give you your money's worth with some interesting stories that I can't talk about. Cool. All right. Anyway, I'm going to leave it right there. Okay. All right. Members of the day are Spencer Jaffe, member number 1313, and Catherine Strode, who is member number 1033. Thank you, guys. All right.
Nice.
What's next?
All right. Don't you hate it when you're on Facebook or some other social media site and you realize that some of your friends are actually kind of poor? Well, that's how rich people feel, and that's why they're joining a new social media site known as Metropolitan. You actually have to pay to join, and it costs $9,000 to do so, okay? So just to give you a sense of what it is exactly, and this is in their own words, it's the online country club for people with more money than time.
I do declare.
Okay. Also, let me break down the fee that you have to pay to be part of this very exclusive social media site. The $9,000 fee includes a $6,000 initiation fee plus a $3,000 annual fee. You must be 21 years old to join. You'll supposedly be able to chat with like-minded individuals, though Metropolitan declined to provide details about its user base. And look, I don't begrudge them for doing that. They want to maintain the privacy of people that join, and that's totally fine, right? But here's the thing, it's just basically a Facebook page for people who are wealthy. There's nothing else involved. And they're saying, look, it's important because these people want to network with them, although I will read you some quotes later from the person who founded the social media site, and you'll get a better sense of why he did it. Now, here's a disclaimer that they want you to know about before you pay this ridiculous fee. Please understand that Metropolitan is not a concierge service. Our member service associates will not book you a charter jet or find you tickets to a sold-out Broadway show. They exist solely to help members technically navigate and find their way around the social club.
I do declare.
Right?
By the way, we should be fair and point out that every quote is followed by the statement, I do declare.
Yes.
Okay. It's in their website. No, it's not. So I like that statement there because they're like, don't get us wrong. We're not going to do anything for you, anything at all. It's just like Facebook where you're going to put up pictures of your kids, except nobody's going to see them. Okay, nobody else joined. Now they provide some things, like so they give you unlimited cloud file storage, which you can get in other services.
Yeah.
It's an ad-free environment. I should hope so if you're paying $9,000, right? And so all this, I got it. Okay, but the country club works. Even though it's insane, and the country club costs a lot more. Some here in LA cost $100,000 more than that, okay, to join. I know, it's crazy. But they network and they do $1 million deals. So as grating as it is on our nerves and it's as insane as it seems, as a business person, I can understand the logic of it. But they're not going to network on Metropolitan. The reason they don't tell you how many people are using it is not because they're obsessed with privacy. It's because if you find out there's only 13 suckers who signed on, you realize you ain't going to network with anybody. They're just taking your money.
They're just taking your money.
Yeah.
Now let's hear a little bit from the founder. He is a former composer, okay? And I didn't know composers made enough money to be considered part of the 1%, but apparently so.
Apparently so, yeah.
So his name is James Tucci Peters?
No. His name is James Tushy Peters.
All right. So he says that Metropolitan is an environment where you could talk about the finer things in life without backlash.
Well, that's a little bit better at the end, but the correct way to read that sentence is an environment where you can talk about the finer things in life without backlash, I do declare.
So
finer things in life. Yeah.
So he was part of an interview where he, talked about this in greater detail. He spoke to Vice specifically, and here's what he had to say. I know this is a very arrogant thing to say, but I'm an orchestra conductor.
Oh, I despise him already.
And I finally had to realize my life isn't like most other people's.
No, it isn't.
It isn't. So I was looking for a place online where I could socialize, where people kind of have the same experiences I have had, and I couldn't find it. Oh,
well said, Tushy.
You poor soul. You couldn't find a place online to brag with other wealthy individuals.
With other orchestra conductors who pay $9,000 a year.
So he was also asked why he came up with the $9,000 figure. Here's what he said. We wanted to come up with a figure that was high enough that would discourage most of the people who aren't in our target demographic, but at the same time, low enough so that those people wouldn't be intimidated because the business model is new.
I love his disdain for the rabble, for the masses. He looks at him and he's like, I do declare you're not in the orchestra conductor league. He became Bane all of a sudden. Yeah. This is the moment of your liberation from $9,000.
And then every year after that, they got to continue paying the $3,000 fee.
Right.
Look, honestly, I'm not even mad at him, right?
I'm not mad at you.
No, look, he doesn't like poor people. He doesn't like middle-class people. He only likes millionaires and billionaires, right? That makes him a bad person if you ask me. But I'm not mad at him. Here's the thing. He realized that there are like-minded assholes out there that will willingly give up their money for something as stupid as a wealthy person's Facebook page. So go ahead, rob them of their money. It's just going to make you more wealthy, but do you, boo?
Right. And in the end, there's some people will sign up, right? Just to be able to say, oh, are you not on Metropolitan? Mm-hmm. Oh, I was going to send you pictures of my family from the Hamptons.
Yes.
Or from Nantucket. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't send you the link. You're not on Metropolitan.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
That's what those are the unbearable people who want to do that, and that's the whole point of this. And so, in some ways, I'm glad that they're at least out $9,000.
That's true. And by the way, I believe in full disclosure, so I will admit that there is like this exclusive club in most major cities called Soho House, and it costs a couple $1,000s to join it. And the whole point of Soho House is it's a club environment or a bar environment. It's very upscale, and you're supposed to go there to socialize with professionals, right? And so when I became single, I was like, this is where I want to go. Like I went there once because I was invited. When you're invited, you get to go for free, and like, it was great. And so I was so tempted. You have to apply. You have to get a letter of recommendation from someone who's currently a member, and then you have to pay a couple $1,000s to get in. And I came so close because I was a moron, and then I decided no.
No. I can do one better than that.
Yeah?
Let's save it for the post game.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you this. Someone here applied to the Soho House at my urging and got rejected.
Oh, I like that. I can't wait to hear. I have a suspicion, okay? I can't wait to hear.
And I screwed it up. You'll love how I screwed it up. Because we're not good at this. This isn't what we do, right? And they're like, I do declare the Metropolitan has rejected you. We were wondering what would break first, your spotty or your spirit.
Oh, that's great.
So that's for the members in the post game. That'll be fun. Okay. Next.
All right, hold on. You know what? I'm skipping. What time is it? No, I'm not skipping. I'm going to keep going. I can't see the time, so that's fine.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. I hear you.
All right. Officials in Kenya are offering a free trip to a U.S. teenager who was mistaken for the White Widow, or basically a terrorist. They were harassing this individual. It was a 15-year-old U.S. teenager and her family. Police thought that since she was the so-called terrorist, they gave her a really hard time. And so as a result, they're like, okay, we're going to give you a free trip to Kenya. Hopefully that'll make up for things. Okay?
Yeah, I'm not sure I would, yeah. Like, hey, congratulations, your prize, a free trip to Kenya. The same people who just harassed you, right, and thought you were a terrorist. Now, look, to be fair to the Kenyans, though, I don't know how similar they look, but the White Widow eluded them in 2011 by using a fake passport.
Yes.
So that's why they were pins and needles. Now, let's talk about the White Widow.
Yeah.
First of all, let me just say, stop naming terrorists super cool, badass names.
Yeah.
Because it makes you want to go see the movie, right? Like, oh, what did the White Widow do? So first of all, her name is Samantha Luthwaite, okay? And she's a 30-year-old Muslim convert, and hence that's why she's white, okay? Although there are a lot of white Muslims, billions of them anyway, or at least hundreds of millions of them. And she joined Somalia's al-Shabaab rebels, and her husband was one of the 4 people who did bombings in Kenya. Mm-hmm. And in 2011, she eluded the Kenyan authorities by using a South African passport. And so now it's coming up on an anniversary of the bombings, okay? And her trail had gone cold, and now they see someone that they think might be her. Now remember, she's 30 and the girl was 15.
I know.
So and we can't see the 15-year-old's picture, so we don't know how similar they are. But you can understand why the Kenyans are a little touchy.
Yeah, I can understand, but I mean, you have to fully investigate something before you start treating someone like a terrorist, right? Just because they have, I don't know what the 15-year-old looks like because her picture has not been released, right? But even if she has similar, physical attributes or whatever, you can't treat that person like a terrorist or harass them or give them a hard time unless you are certain that that's the person you're looking for. I mean, it kind of reminds me of that one LAPD official that went rogue, right? And he was like threatening police officers and everything. And so there was this manhunt for him. And then cops in LA thought that he was in this blue pickup truck or whatever. And then they decided to like shoot into the truck before confirming he was actually in it. There were 2 Asian women in it. Right? Yeah. It just reminds me of the stupidity of that story. So just make sure you know what you're doing before you get yourself into it.
Now, of course, if they pulled her aside to confirm that she was not the White Widow, I find that understandable. So the devil's in the details as to how much they harassed her, right? So, and let me be clear about who the White Widow is. She's British, and she was actually married to one of the 4 suicide bombers who attacked London. But she's part of Al-Shabaab, which did the bombing in Kenya about a year ago on this Sunday. That's why it's coming up. That's why they're even more touchy. And that killed 67 people. So that's why the Kenyans are looking for her.
Yep. All right. There's Kenya.
Okay.
Moving on.
Oh, shoot. I forgot to do my jokes. Damn it.
Go ahead.
Okay, now I will do the super awkward part where I will tell you jokes that after the moment has passed. She must have thought, I can't believe they've confused me for the White Widow. Can ya believe it?
Oh, damn, Cenk, we really need to get on the ball with those comedy tours. I don't know why we haven't scheduled another one.
She says, you think I'm part of Al-Shabaab? Wrong again, Al-Shabaab.
I don't know what to do with this guy.
All right, come on, admit that was slightly fun.
The first one was okay. The second one was terrible.
Wrong. Second one was even better.
All right,
let's go.
Okay. The co-founder of OkCupid wants to let you know that if you're a woman and if you're older than 22 years old, men are not finding you desirable anymore. That's according to a new book that he has written. It's called Dataclysm, Who We Are When We Think No One's Looking. And so he talked about, what the habits are of people who use his website. So look, that's the most important thing to take away from this. It's not a representative sample. It's people that use OkCupid, and I don't think that's representative of all people in the world, right? But what he did find, based on survey answers and also by habits, men typically find people who are in their very early 20s to be the most attractive. So let me tell you exactly what he said. His name is Christian Rudder. He says, from the time you're 22, you'll be less hot than a 20-year-old based on this data. So that's just a thing. Okay.
Well, it is what it is. Right.
So he also noticed something kind of fascinating. Although men are likely to say that they find 20-somethings or 20-year-olds most attractive, and then they start finding them less and less attractive as they get older, they're likely to go after women in their age group or around their age.
Yeah, that part I find less interesting because, it turns out dudes are realistic. So the 68-year-old isn't like, let me hit up this 20-year-old, just in case, just in case.
But think about what that implies. That implies that most dudes have to settle for someone in their age group, right? When in reality, they want to be with, I don't even know if they want to be with someone who's 20.
They do.
Like, be with her? Like, wife her up? Really?
No, I don't know about wife her up.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a serious relationship. No, of course they're going to want to fuck a 20-year-old. There's no question about that, right?
So, you're saying about the story. Of course!
Yeah, there's nothing surprising about this. They find younger women attractive, right?
Yeah. I guess what was surprising was how young, right?
Really?
Hold on, what's that mic situation? Oh, your hair. Okay. So what was surprising is how young, right? You look at 20. That's the thing. It didn't matter what age group you were in. If you were a 20-year-old, you wanted the 20-year-old. If you were a 30-year-old, 20. 40, 60, 80, 20. 20. The answer is always 20. Even at 22, you're a little over the hill.
That's amazing. Okay. Yeah, that's amazing. And as I was reading the story, it didn't make me feel bad, or it didn't make me worry at all. Usually something like this that tells you, as a woman, you're less desirable because you're older. I'm 28, right? Like, it would get you down a little bit. But for me, I just think about who I was as a 20-year-old, and even what I look like as a 20-year-old. And I'm like, dude, if you want a 22-year-old Anna or a 20-year-old Anna, I feel sorry for you, right? I wasn't ugly, and I wasn't like a terrible person, but I was inexperienced and naive and dumb. I still am to some degree, but not as much as I was when I was 20, right? And I feel so much more sexy at 28 as opposed to 20.
Sure. Whatever gets you through the night. Hill, Anna. I'm just kidding.
No, I'm not just saying this. I feel really good.
No,
so,
I'm playing bus nuts with you. No, in a lot of ways, you've matured in a really positive way, right? And then that happens to a lot of people. But, of course, a lot of people look at the story, still can't help but find it a little depressing, right? But, look, we can't fight our nature. So I've been depressed my whole life that women are not attracted to overweight guys. But they're just less attracted to us, right? And then are they guys or women going to be more attracted to a 44-year-old or a hot-looking 20-year-old or 25 or whatever it is with abs, right? I mean, keep it real. It is what it is.
What's really interesting is, based on the surveys, the women were more likely to find men their own age attractive.
So I hear you on that. So women, in that sense, are quote-unquote better than men?
I don't even know if that's better. It's just what you prefer. And look,
it's just genetic code.
A lot of it has to do with fertility. A lot of it has to do with our biological urges. I'm not even mad at you, right? But it is what it is. And also, like, there is also the societal perception that men get better looking as they age and women get worse looking as they age.
But keep it real. The other part of it is men get richer as they age. And hence, what it's sending to our DNA, like the message that it's sending is more powerful, more established, can take care of you, okay? So we all are attracted to things that we, in our culture technically shouldn't be attracted to. Like, you should just care about the guy's personality, and the guy should only care about your personality. But it turns out he wants a 20-year-old's body, and she wants a powerful guy, because that's what's written into our code.
Absolutely. Yeah, and look, women are into the aesthetic thing too. It's not solely men. So
yeah. Oh, believe me, I'm aware of that.
Yes.
I'm painfully aware of that. All right. I guess we're so close to out of time that let's do one more story and wrap it up, okay?
All right, sounds good to me. All right. High schoolers at Tottenville High School in Staten Island are fighting back against the dress code there. Recently, there were a number of students that got detention after they broke the dress code. And keep in mind that it's been extremely hot in the area, so it's not that difficult to break the dress code. According to reports, after the school reportedly gave detention to 200 kids, 90% of whom were girls, or yes, girls, that was when the students thought, you know what, it's time to take a stand and to protest. So in an effort to protest, they're actually showing up to school wearing clothing that does break the dress code. So what exactly do you have to wear in order to break that dress code? Prohibited are tank tops, low-cut shirts, and shorts, right? And we're talking about shorts that don't reach fingertip length, which, by the way, that is not fashionable. That does not look cute. No, like, let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. None of my shorts are fingertip length. That's just not hot. I don't even know if they make shorts like that, right? That's not shorts.
Oh, so you're saying, I don't know the fingertip rule or anything like that, that these shorts you think are perfectly acceptable, like the longer shorts would be so unhot that nobody would wear them? Yeah,
and also, look, obviously there's bounds of reason. I'm not saying, like, oh, do the cheeky shorts where you see the bottom of your butt, but I'm talking about, like, just regular shorts and how they're made. And, okay, so let me give you an example. Fingertip length is this. This is what they mean. So basically, where the end of my finger is, right? Yeah. Shorts are usually, like, right there. Okay?
I think people are having fun with this example. Okay, so that is right there too short?
That's too short. So that would get a detention.
You know, they're called shorts.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so here's the reason why this is problematic. You guys are probably wondering why we're talking about it. The reason why they have a dress code is because they say that they don't want any distractions in class. So what do they do to the girls who do wear the shorts? In sweltering heat, by the way, they have them wear a big baggy gym shirt and big baggy gym shorts. And so they pull them aside, tell the girls your outfit is inappropriate, shaming them in some way, right? And then having them wear a ridiculous outfit that lets everyone else in the school know, hey, she was dressed inappropriately. She was dressed in a skanky way. That's a little more of a disruption than letting a girl wear a pair of shorts that are perfectly fine.
Okay. I'm actually more split on this story. I'm going to pull out Grandpa Jank a little bit here. Okay, come on. Okay, so number one, I understand the point that the girls are making because it's over 100 degrees and some of the classrooms don't have air conditioning. So, like, what do you want us to do? Right? Come in a burqa? Right? So I get that part. On the other hand, they say, like, some of the people fighting back against this say that they have no business talking about how it's distracting and the clothes can't be distracting. Well, what if she came in no shirt? That's going to be distracting.
I know. Okay. Look, again, you use human judgment.
Yeah, bounds of reason. Now, the principals and authorities here are drawing the line in a place where maybe we wouldn't draw it, right? But they are the principals, and that's kind of what they're supposed to be. They're like wet blankets, or like, oh, a lot of I'm sure parents don't like the skimpy clothing. On the other hand, then they could have made sure their daughters didn't wear it.
Right.
Right? And so now that I'm a dad, I'm like, daughter's wearing the skimpy clothes, not so much in favor of it. There's Grandpa Jank. But look, I get that principals do it every once in a while. Look, they probably would have been better off just leaving it alone.
Yeah, look, there was
you can violate the bounds of reason, and some of those shorts probably were too short.
Yes. Look, I was in schools with dress codes, right? Especially in my middle school. They were very strict with dress codes. I wore shorts all the time. No one gave me a hard time about that, right? Because they're shorts. It's not that big of a deal. And the dress code specifically targets what girls want to wear.
But then that's the other thing. So they say, oh, no, this is discriminating against girls. I see that it affects 90% girls, so that's obviously a powerful argument. The flip side to that is if a dude came in and he was wearing shorts so short that you were seen as nutsack, believe me, they would have also made him wear other clothes.
I know, but there's no indication that these girls are wearing shorts so short that you're seeing private parts or areas. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and guys don't wear those kind of shorts.
And also, I think it's insulting to both boys and girls, right? Because it's letting the girl think or know that she's perceived as someone who's scantily clad or who dresses too provocatively. And it also makes it seem as though these boys can't control themselves. If they see a little bit of skin, they're going to, like, lose it. You know? And so it's everybody just calm down. This is more of a distraction than anything else, right? Use human judgment. If someone is dressed too provocatively, I think you know as an adult. Don't have like a hardline rule when it comes to shorts.
Okay, my final ruling on this is that I need both sides to become. Principals, don't hand it out to 90% of the girls or whatever. It's not 90% of the girls. People affected are 90% girls. On the other hand, if you got your butt cheeks hanging out, understand that the principal is going to come by and make you wear bigger shorts.
Yeah.
Calm down. Am I not merciful?
You're very merciful.
Thank you. Okay. All right, but don't get me wrong. Adult women wear short shorts as you like. Have at it, Hoss. Okay. Am I not merciful?
Bye-bye.
Okay. All right. Oh, by the way, okay, just comment. All right, members, we're going to tell you all the stories that I promised you. Okay. Including how we tried to get into an elite place and got rejected. Okay, which is fun. Tonight we're shooting another episode of Old School. It's a bit of a secret podcast, very hard to find. Good luck. I literally couldn't find it when I tried.
It's on iTunes. All you have to do is type in TYT Old School. It'll come up.
Of course, Grandpa Jank was like, what? I don't get it. But I do have a Squarespace website. Okay, I did build that on my own. Anyway, check out Old School if you want to see me, Ben, Jesus, and JR have a very good time. All right, that's it. Now, bye-bye.
You liked that, didn't you?
Well, if you like that, you'll love the whole show. TYTnetwork.com. Get the whole show as a member.